In this problem, we have a geometric sequence that goes as 125, 25, 5, and then we need to find the fifth term of this sequence. So to find the fifth term, let me write down the formula for a geometric sequence. So it goes a of n, where that's the term you want, or the value of the term you want, is equal to a1, the very first term, times r, the common ratio, to the n minus 1 power, where n is the term you want. And let's find a1, r, and n. So a of 1 is pretty easy. What's the first number I gave you in this sequence? That's 125. What is r? Well, on visual inspection, you might realize it's 1/5, but let's say you can't figure that out instantly. What you can do is take any term and divide it by the preceding term. So for example, I can take 25 and divide it by the preceding term, which is 125. And if you do this on a calculator, you should get 0.2, which is the same thing as 1/5. Or you could also take 5 and divide it by 25. And you might realize that this cancels out to get 1/5, which is the same as 0.2. So that's how you can find the common ratio if it's not always at first. Take a term and then divide it by the term right behind it, and this will always give you the common ratio. So I'm going to say r is 0.2. You can also write it as 1/5 if you wish. It doesn't matter too much since they're the same thing. And then what is n in this problem? Well, I just said we want the fifth term. So n is equal to 5. Now let's put in these numbers and solve. A of 5 is equal to, let me just rewrite that 5, is equal to 125, because that's the first term, times r is 0.2. We calculated that. To the n minus 1 power, well, that's 5 minus 1. And then now we can just compute this. So 5 minus 1 is just 4. Now we need to do 0.2 to the fourth power. I'll take out a calculator because that's not very easy to do in your head. So if you do 0.2 to the fourth power, this is equal to 0.0016. And then you just need to do 125 times 0.0016. If you do that, you should get 0.2. So 0.2 is the value of the fifth term. And we are done with this problem. It just happens to be a coincidence that the fifth term is also equal to the common ratio. The fact that they're the same thing doesn't mean anything. That was just pure coincidence in this problem. But the answer is 0.2. And then because we only had to value the fifth term, let me show you how you could have done this pretty easily as well. So what you could have done is started from the third term and worked to the fifth term. So what I'm saying is that 5 is the third term. You just go to the fourth term, whatever that is. And then from there, you could work your way to the fifth term. And because we only have to go from third term to the fifth term, this is not that hard of a problem to do. So remember, we have to just multiply by 0.2 each time. If you do 5 times 0.2, you get 1. If you do 1 times 0.2, you'll get 1/5, or 0.2. They're the same thing. And that's another way that you can get the answer of 0.2 for the fifth term.